When I walked across the stage on my graduation day, the roaring applause from strangers felt warmer than the polite claps from my own parents. I looked into the audience, scanning the rows, hoping to catch their eyes, maybe see a proud smile or even a small tear. But all I saw was my mom checking her phone and my dad tapping his watch impatiently. They didn't even stay for the group photo. "We've got dinner reservations," Mom had said, grabbing her purse. They didn't even ask me where I wanted to go or how I wanted to celebrate. I spent the night alone in my tiny apartment, eating leftover pasta and looking at my cap and gown draped over the back of a chair. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from "Where are you watching this video?" This wasn't new. My parents have always treated my accomplishments like they were inconveniences they had to endure. I graduated top of my class, double majored, worked part-time to support myself, and even scored a job offer before finishing school, but to them, it was just expected. When I timidly asked a few months before graduation if they'd consider helping me get a laptop, nothing flashy, just something reliable for work, my mother's lips curled as if I'd insulted her. "Wow, you really think the world owes you something, huh?" she snapped. My father laughed and said, "Be grateful you even got through college without loans. You think life rewards you for doing what you're supposed to?" So I backed down. I always did. I told myself I was overreacting, that maybe I was asking for too much, maybe they were under financial strain or just old-fashioned. I swallowed my hurt and worked harder. It became a cycle, me shrinking myself to avoid being seen as selfish, while trying to earn a slice of approval that never came. Then came the real slap in the face. My younger brother, Nate, barely passed 10th grade. He had always been the fun one, the golden child, despite skipping classes, partying, and getting into trouble more times than I could count. And yet, when he passed with a D average, my parents threw a huge backyard celebration. Balloons, cake, barbecue, even a DJ. I found out through Instagram stories posted by one of his friends. But the worst part? The brand new car parked in the driveway with a giant red bow on top and Nate holding the keys like he'd just won the lottery. "Congrats, Nate!" "So proud of you." My mom's caption read, accompanied by 3 heart emojis. I stared at my phone screen, heart pounding, fingers trembling, not from jealousy, but from a deep, bone-level sadness. All I asked for was a small gesture, something to say. "We see you." Something to feel like I mattered as much as the son who crashed the family SUV last year and blamed it on a squirrel. I tried calling them. No answer. I texted. No reply. It was as if my existence was only relevant when it served a purpose for them, something they could boast about to their friends, but never support when it truly counted. I spent that night staring at the ceiling, wrestling with a truth I didn't want to face. I wasn't just less favored. I was invisible. And then something inside me shifted. I realized I had been asking for love in a language they never bothered to learn. I was chasing approval that came with conditions and shrinking my needs to avoid being labeled as difficult. But maybe I wasn't the selfish one after all. Maybe I was just done begging for breadcrumbs of affection. What they didn't know was that I'd been documenting everything, not in a dramatic way, but in little journals, notes, emails, even screenshots. Every double standard, every time they showed up for him and not me, every memory that stung like a fresh paper cut. I didn't plan on using it, until now, because this story wasn't over. Not yet. The night after Nate's car surprise, I didn't sleep much. I lay awake with my laptop open, scrolling through the years of proof I had quietly kept. Messages from my mom canceling my birthday dinner to take Nate to a last-minute soccer game, photos from family vacations where I had been conveniently forgotten, and the email thread from when I got accepted into a summer research program abroad, but had to decline because they wouldn't help cover the plane ticket, even though they bought Nate a drone just a week later. It was all there. Years of erasure, polished and neatly time-stamped. But I didn't want revenge. I wanted clarity. I wanted them to finally see me. Not as the high achiever who didn't need attention, not as the independent one who didn't ask for help. I wanted them to realize that I was still their daughter, still human, and still aching from being constantly pushed to the background. So I wrote them a letter, Not a rage-filled rant, but a heartbreakingly honest account of how their actions had made me feel invisible. I detailed everything, not to blame, but to show them the cumulative damage. I told them how I cried on graduation night, how I kept pretending I was fine, how I never asked for anything because I was afraid they'd call me ungrateful again. I attached photos of my achievements they never acknowledged, copies of awards they never knew I won, and even a picture of me standing alone at my graduation with the caption, "This is what proud looks like when no one's watching." Then I mailed it, not as an email, not a text. I printed it on thick paper, sealed it with a wax stamp I had saved from an old writing set, and placed it inside an envelope with just 3 words handwritten on the front. "Please read me." But I didn't stop there. A few weeks later, my company hosted a recognition event for young professionals. I was nominated to give a speech about perseverance and breaking cycles. I was nervous, but I poured everything into those few minutes. I didn't name names, but I told the story of a girl who kept showing up even when her family didn't, who built her own spotlight when no one handed her one, who chose healing over hatred. The crowd gave a standing ovation. That speech was filmed, shared, and soon picked up by a couple of motivational pages online. It reached thousands, then tens of thousands. Eventually, it was played at a local university's orientation program. My inbox flooded with strangers saying they saw themselves in my words. For the first time, my story wasn't just pain, it was power. And somewhere in that flurry of emails and DMs, I received a message from Nate. It was short, just, "I had no idea. I'm sorry." I didn't know what to do with that, but I didn't reply. Not yet. 2 days later, I got a call from my mom. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was trembling. "We read your letter." I didn't know we hurt you so badly. I thought we were treating you like an adult, like someone who didn't need hand-holding. I see now how wrong we were. Please call me." But I didn't call, not right away, because it wasn't about giving them a chance to fix their guilt. It was about me realizing I didn't need their permission to heal. Still, weeks passed. Then, one Sunday morning, while walking through the farmer's market in my new city, a little girl ran past me wearing a shirt that said, "Seen, heard, loved." It hit me in a way I wasn't prepared for. I sat on a bench, staring at the words, and thought, maybe it was time, not to forget, but to speak, to be heard. So I called my mom. We talked for over 2 hours. She cried, I cried. There were apologies, awkward pauses, and moments where we didn't know what to say. But for the first time, she listened. She didn't defend. She didn't explain away. She just heard me. My dad joined the call near the end. He didn't say much, just, "I'm sorry, kiddo. We messed up. That was it. No dramatic Hollywood ending. No magical family reunion. Just honesty." Months later, for my birthday, I received a package. Inside was a photo album labeled "What We Missed." It held printed photos of every award I'd earned, every major moment from my social media they had overlooked. My parents had gone back and printed them out, filled pages with handwritten notes. "We should have been there. You made us proud, even if we didn't say it." They still spoil Nate. They still fumble their way through showing affection. But something shifted. Now, they ask about my day. They tell me they're proud. And when I got promoted last month, they flew in for the weekend to celebrate. Not because I asked them to, but because they wanted to. I don't expect everything to be perfect, but now I don't shrink myself anymore. I don't wait for their applause to validate my worth. I clap for myself, loudly, and when they join in, it feels like a bonus, not the reward I'd spent years chasing. Because I've finally learned the loudest kind of love is the one you give yourself. And now, they can hear it too. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video.